Welcome. You have reached review time with Imperial. Today's review is the movie Netflix presents Netflix Originals Bird Box starring Sandra Bullock. Let's get into it. Now, uh, this movie was strategic by Netflix. They launched this movie on the 21st, and most people around this time, it's holiday season. The people that don't that are off chilling, and what they do when they chill, Netflix and chill. So this is something that the trailers intrigued a lot of people. So when it launched, people was interested in watch, and so it's been generating a lot of buzz that people like this movie. And I guess I heard the buzz, so I gave it a shot to sit down and watch it. So it has a decent cast, some familiar faces that you, besides Sandra Bullock, of course, that you recognize. And the storyline was, the hype that my opinion, the hype that everybody has been launching with it. I don't get it. I was wondering who was what level, are they just watching the film, or when I watch films, I'm instantly critiquing films, so it's like maybe I look at things from a different view or whatever. So let's get into it. So pretty much, the storyline is the world is an apocalypse. The world has fell apart. So it starts off with her blindfolded with some kids, and then it goes back and forth to what's happening in the current, to what happens in the past or whatever. So it teaches you it's showing you how things got to where it got to in the current. So it comes on where she's talking to some kids, and she's giving them instructions, and she put blindfolds on them, and then they end up going down the river blindfolded. So it transfers back to past, where she's pregnant, and she's with her sister, and they're going to the hospital for her checkup. Now, instantly at her checkup, it started happening then. She's walking down the hall, and she's seen somebody taking their head, bashing it against the wall. That was unusual. And the more and more she was walking out to the car, things was happening. By the time they got driven down the street, people were crashing into each other. Chaos was running. People were running. And finally, whatever it was jumped in her sister, and she drove real fast, and the sister hit the car, and the car flipped over. Of course, now keep in mind, she's pregnant. She pulled herself out of the car. The sister looked at her gave her that look like it's the end. And his sister walked into head-on traffic and got hit by a truck. Then she's on the ground. She's getting up. Somebody, the panic, people run her over. Some guy comes out of nowhere, sees that she's a female that is in help, and so he looks at her. So this other guy, he's trying to get in comfort in his house, and his wife sees that she's pregnant. So or girlfriend or whatever she was, she comes out to try to help Sandra Bullock's character that's pregnant, and then whatever it was took over her, and she was gone. So the guy that seen her picked her up on the ground, went to the house, banged on the door like, "Hey, let us in," or whatever. So they finally let her in. He's upset with Sandra Bullock, like, "Yo, she went out there to help you, and of course she lost her life." So it's already people in the house, and they're watching everything was going on, and um, they start piecing things together. Each one had their little story on what happened to them and how they came to get. So they kind of seen that whatever it was is taking over people through sight. If whatever they're looking at is taking over people through sight, so they shut all the windows in the house so no sight can get through. And some other woman came, she banging on the door. They let her in, and she ended up being pregnant too. So all this is going on, and of course, just like anything else, whatever's in the house is eventually going to run out of what? Supplies and food. They got to make a run. So before they make this run, they have a video camera. So they're saying, hey, can whatever you see, can it transfer through imagery, like through cameras and stuff like that? So this guy said he was going to test it out. He tested it out, looking through the video camera on a computer, and the imagery came and took him out too. So that was dumb. And then they had to make the food run, so they painted the car with paint so nothing could be looked through the car. So now you're wondering, well, how are they gonna get to the store if they go outside and it takes over? Well, they're gonna use the GPS of the car to navigate through the roads. Pretty much hit anything that's in the road to get to the supermarket. So these things in the beginning were just committing suicide. Whatever they're doing, it takes over them. They commit suicide. Whether it's driving off the road, jumping out a window, it would just commit suicide. So when they went to the supermarket and they grabbed their supplies and everything, they heard somebody inside of the supermarket freezer. And now, at this point, stage of the game, this is where you start to see, like, the ridiculousness. Somebody is inside this freezer. Now, at this point, you got your crew. Everybody's going to be a caution. So you're going to have weapons with you, everything. So you like, come on, man. We done seen Walking Dead and all this. Like, you need weapons. You need guns. Come on. We not out here just rolling. So the guy sounded like he was normal. So they opened the freezer door, and they instantly see that the dude wasn't normal. He was trying to get out of the freezer, and he was a big guy, and he started pushing they all trying to push the freezer door back, but he's pushing his way out. And Little Rel character, which had a menial role, dived his self into the freezer to push the dude back so they could lock the freezer back. And the dude killed a Little Rel inside the freezer. So, that was that. And so that was the first time they got to see that those things, that they were no longer just committing suicide. They were getting aggressive, where they were launching out to attack people. If you weren't one of them, they were coming to attack you. So it's not all of them, but if you had, I guess, issues in your mind or whatever, you became one of them that was just going to attack people. You wasn't going to be just commit suicide. So that you start to figure out that another scene after that. So from there they get back to the house, and they getting along. It's a couple out that was there. The couple come back in the crib, and the couple does some bogus-ish. The couple comes and just takes off with the car. So it never even shows what happens to them. you just gotta assume that they're dead. They just take off with the car and leave. And so somebody comes banging on the door. And so the other pregnant woman that they let in the house lets this guy in the house. Now, she didn't, no regard to getting everybody's, no regard to getting everybody's agreement or preparation. She just goes and grabs this dude and lets him in the house. And he's already coming weird. He's coming in frantic. He got a book bag. Nobody checks the book bag. And she said, I just was thinking that I remember when I was out there stuck, I needed help or whatever. So he comes in weird. And the one guy that's in the house, John Malkovich, his character, he's like, nah, something wrong with this dude. We don't pick up strays. Woo, woo, woo. You know what I'm saying? He picks up the gun, like, nah, get this dude out of here. They think he's tripping, so they knock him out with because he pulls the gun out. And no one ever checks this dude's bag. And you let the newcomer come in and take the vision into the circle. When y'all, and they pick his character in a room. No, you pick the new person in a room. Or whatever. So, of course, you already know what's gonna happen. If you into movies, you already know this guy's off and he's going to do something. So at the same time, Sandra Bullock's character, her with her brakes, just like the other girl with her brakes, and both of them having a baby at the same time. Wow. Okay. One was due the beginning of October or something like that. The other one was due the end of September, so they was relatively due around the same time anyway. And they both having a baby at the same time. And this woman, an older lady, the guy who helped Sandra Bullock in the beginning. The new dude is just floating, of course. Come on. And the guy who they thought was tripping, they locked him away in a room. So the new guy, he's really start tripping. He takes the birds, put them in the freezer. Reason why he put them in the freezer, because birds in this apocalypse situation, they can sense danger. So they start going off and chirping and stuff like that when they see the, whatever, like something's not right. So he picked them in the freezer, and the dude that they put away, they asked him like, well, he said, what you doing, man? What you doing? He can see what he's doing. So while they're having the babies, the guy that helped Sandra Bullock, he comes down, and of course the new guy took out all these pictures of the images of the bad stuff. He comes down, and now he can see this dude's off. Nobody looked into the book, the book bag, and he cracked the dude's side of the head. He's knocked out. Now he's going upstairs while both of these women is pregnant, and they, of course, they have the babies, and they're sitting with the babies. So what does he do? Oh, let me see. And he's like, y'all need to, nice babies. And he's like, y'all need to see. So he takes the shades off of the windows that they had upstairs. So of course that lets the thing inside. So now they see, first he takes over the old lady, kills her, then it has the one woman that was pregnant, not Sandra Bullock's character, because she stayed underneath the covers. So it consumes her. She takes over, but she has her baby in her hand. Sandra Bullock jumps up and tells her, give me your baby, give me your baby. Give me your baby first, give me your baby first. Because the thing is taking over her. So eventually she releases and lets the baby go. And the girl dives head first out the window. So the guy they locked away downstairs, he breaks out. He got the shotgun. But keep in mind, he knows the light is in the house. So he comes upstairs and he has the gun, but he don't want to look because it could take him over. So he can't see where the guy is. So he does get a shot off, and he just pretty much he wounds the guy. And once he wounds him, um, the dude rushed him, knocks him out, knocks him over the banister, and then stabs him with the whatchamacallit. And then the guy that helped Sandra Bullock, he finally wakes up, and there's a gun right there, and you hear two gunshots, so you don't know who lived, and eventually it was the guy that helped Sandra Bullock. So they live, and all this time, it's been shown how Sandra Bullock is on this river with two kids with no, with blindfolds on, going down a river, trying to find this place. So they had these walkie-talkies. They raising the kids, and they call the kids. One kid is called girl, the other kid is called boy, and they raising these kids in this apocalyptic world, and they got a walkie-talkie, and finally they get a hold of somebody that tells them to come. If they follow this path, go through all these channels. They asked them if they had kids, and they said no. So they didn't want to tell them they had kids because they don't know, they couldn't trust them. So they said, well, if you had kids, it would be harder. Go down this river. If you make it down the river, once you get to here, they said, how would we get to where you? They said, listen to the birds. The birds will give you the guidance to get to whatever. So that's the movie in a nutshell. Of course, it becomes a scene where the aggressive people, the aggressive demon people, or whatever, almost gets them, attacks them, and the guy that was with Sandra Bullock, in order to save them so they could get free and go, he had to take his blindfold off and shoot and kill all the men, and it eventually took him over. But he was able to kill the men so that they could get free. So he was going. So I don't like the movie that, I don't believe the hype that everybody else was drawn to this movie, man. I thought it was bogus. Like, where evil is dominant, there's also good that prevails where it's even, at least it's even playing field. So you mean tell me this apocalyptic world thing takes over everybody, takes away all sight, and then consumes people, make them become suicidal, and then on top of that, it evolves where now the people are no longer suicidal, they want to attack you and kill you, and you don't get no win. It's no strategy, and you just blind out here in the world, and you can't do nothing. It was just ridiculous that was their thing, or whatever. So the people over the phone, they eventually made it down the river. It was, trials and tribulations with that. And the people that made it on the river was the school for the blind. And the school for the blind, that's how they're able to survive, because they're all blind anyway, so they can't, the sight thing can't get them. And come to find out, when Sandra Bullock and the kids get there, her doctor that was looking over her is there. Like, oh, come on. Like, man, it's so I held you up enough with this movie review. I'm gonna give this movie review 2 out of 4 stars. Stay tuned to the next review. Share and like the video. Pass it on. Leave a comment. Let me know what you felt about the movie. Maybe I was tripping. Maybe, said I didn't see certain things, but I gave you the movie in a nutshell. Leave a comment. Till next time.